All right, good afternoon, good morning, good night, wherever you are. Welcome to our channel again after we stopped for quite a while. Now, today I'm going to talk about a specific subject on stress. As the pandemic of the COVID-19 is going on around the world, now hitting death toll to about 1.7 millions at this point. In every part of the world, whether you are small, whether you are big, so the stress is getting much more than what we used to experience before. So I believe that this is probably a good subject that we can share with you from my own experience, from how I handle stress and how I help other people handle stress together with me. Now, what is stress? First of all, generally, stress is referring to the state of mind, mental or emotional strain in response to situation, and sometimes we find it hard to handle. This definition is based on Professor Leonard Young from So, in his opinion, the stress can be divided into two portions. We term it as good stress, referring to eustress, or refer to the bad stress, which we call distress. Now, the stress, where is this coming from? Again, has to do with our mind. It's inside our mind. And how it come about is basically depend on your perception, depend on my perception, your perception when you encounter certain situation. For example, if the government decided to lock down, we call it MCO, movement control order, lockdown. To some people, they find so stressful, it's bad stress. They cannot go to work, they cannot deliver things, and so on and so forth. But some other people which have no chance to stay at home can work at home. They don't find that as stressful. That become eustress. So again, as I said, it depends on your perception. If you perceive that stress is help you, if you perceive that incident is helping you, that become the eustress. And you perceive that the incident is actually not helping you, then become the distress. Now, what's the cause of stress? It's basically come from various, incident that you yourself experience. I myself experience, but the most frequently cited stress causes is come from either job related, money related, relationship related, family related, economy related, many of those things. And you stress, as I said earlier on, good stress will motivate you, will excite you. Maybe sometime like you get a new job, maybe getting married and then get promotion and so on, that give you a eustress or good stress. On the other hand, talking about distress, create anxiety within you, feeling unpleasant, decrease of your energy. Now imagine sometime you have quarreled with someone, you don't use physical, but after the quarreling and so on, you find that your energy is drained out, you're exhausted. That is distress, bad stress. So what is stress of from that distress is probably come from maybe a death of the family members, maybe being abused by someone, or maybe you're out of job, right? So that turn you into become the stressful person. Now, in managing the stress, what we want to see or what we want to achieve is what we call optimal stress. meaning that the eustress as well as distress enough to motivate us to move on, enough to motivate us to have physically prepared to do what we're supposed to do, but not strong enough to damage or cause harm to our body. Because that's what we call optimal stress. Or some people they call it or term it as coherent, meaning that optimal state of functionality. You can function very well. So if you look at the graph, probably I can share it later on, is looking at the low stress, high stress, you want to be somewhere in the bell curve, very optimal. So you can function at optimal level. So the question is how to do that. That's the part that I'm going to share with you. Okay, so now let me share with you how do I manage stress. How do I help my customer, my client to manage stress? In my view, there's so many, I'm sure that some of you guys also have read, have heard from many sources, many research and so on and so forth how to manage stress, right? But as far as I'm concerned, there's three things that help me and I believe help my client for those who are required or need help to manage their stress level. Now I put it at three primary steps that you can do. The first, proactive, has to do with how to make yourself calm and control your emotion. Number two, immediate response. Now, if some incident happened to you, you dislike it, it may cause you extreme stress, what you're supposed to do. And number three, the target source of stress. I believe of all the resources that we have right now that you can find, one of the most effective way to manage stress is to look at what the causes of it. You need to manage the cause. So let me go into it one by one. The first one, proactive. One of the methods that I use, I apply to myself and apply to some of my clients, I said earlier on, is focus breathing. Some people term it as meditations, but that's depend on the certain practices. Some like heart math and so on, they call it as the heart focus breathing. But pretty much about the same thing. We're talking about focus on your breathing in and breathing out. But the condition is that you must be fully aware. Focus. The key word is focus. You must fully aware when you breathe in and when you breathe out. So what I used to do is you imagine yourself that you are standing in front or beside the door. People move in, people move out. You don't have to follow them, but you're fully aware, fully conscious that people move in, people move out. So same thing like here. You focus your breathing at your nose here. Then you start to breathe in slowly. Count 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Hold it. And then breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Breathe out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And you continuously doing that non-stop for at least 10 to 15 minutes. And I do recommend that you do it at least 2 or 3 times per day. What I do is normally when I wake up, midday, and before I sleep. Now, it sounds simple, right? What you going to benefit out of that? It's basically like this. If you are involved in some, daily activities, whatever you're doing there, it's going to drain your energy. You're going to drain your energy and you become exhausted. By focused breathing, actually like you recharge your battery again. So when you fully charge, you become more optimum to carry out with the rest of the job that you're supposed to do. You may not see the benefit instantly, but you keep on doing it for a long time. When I say long time, in probably 2 or 3 months, you will see the benefit. So try it out. Work for me, it may be work for you. Now the second step is, I call it immediate response. If some incident that you encounter is not provide any pleasure to you, then the chances that you're going to feel stress. So what I apply here, I call it the compassion. How are you going to apply compassion? It's not very abstract word, but to me it's very simple. Now let's say something like this. You're driving a car on the road. Somebody come and knock you from behind. What's your immediate response? Generally, most of people will get angry, getting up from the car, you know, with anger, go to the other car and probably sometimes shouting at them and so on and so forth. Now, when you apply compassion, means that immediately when any incident happen to you, you just switch to the positive side. Your mind, you actually can switch whether you want to look at the negative side or you want to look at the positive side. Immediately you look at the positive side. Example, just now I said the car, someone knocked you at behind, from behind. So what you should tell yourself is that no, okay, we have an incident here. When I apply compassion, mean I'm thinking of the other side. Oh, probably he's rushing to see his wife in hospital, his kid in hospital, whatever not. If you apply that in your mind that time, your anger definitely much lower because you apply compassion to that the other person. Many incidents that happen around us, you can apply the same way. Just switch it immediately rather than instant respond to the incident. You just pause for a while and think about the positive side of it. You will find that the way that the thought process, your emotion and so on become much more controllable. That is the second step. Now the third step that I like to suggest is focus and find what is the source of the stress that you experience. For example, if you have stress because of workload, then the cause of that stress is because of the workload. So how are you going to do that to ensure that your workload is not cause you problem? You need to probably look at it, prioritize it, go back to the manager and push back, learn how to push back some of those things that you cannot do or commit or complete in time. You know, negotiate for more time and so on and so forth. But you need to go back to the source of all the mechanisms or the method that we use so far. I believe this is one of the best way. You need to find the source. You address from the source, then you can manage your stress to the optimal level that you can function effectively and efficiently as human beings. So let's try this 3 step out. Okay, the first is focused breathing. The second is apply compassion, and then the third one is find out what is the cause of that stress and then address from that cause itself. All right. So with that, hope you enjoy this session and hope to see you in our next video. Thank you.